Hello, I'm Carol,
Hi, I'm Lisa, and we're
and
the
we're
Grief
the Grief Gurus.
Gurus.
And on today's video, we are going to talk about the RAIN technique.
And maybe, Carol, you could just kick it right off and tell us about what that is.
I will do that. Okay, this is a technique that I learned from Tara Brach, who is a mindfulness expert, and it's a really beautiful technique, and I use it with my clients. And it's a mindfulness technique. And so I'm going to tell you what each of the letters stand for. And the R is recognize, and it's about recognizing your emotions. Am I sad? Am I angry? Really just naming what it is that you're feeling. And then the second part is allowing. And in grief, as you know, we tend to push things away that are uncomfortable, but it's allowing and saying, I actually feel really angry, and staying with that and allowing it and feeling it. So we recognize and name, we allow whatever is coming up, and then we investigate it. And I think this is the key part. We get curious. Where am I feeling that anger in my body? What does it feel like? Is it in my chest? Is my throat tight? Does it have a color? Does it have a texture? Does it move? What shape is it? And you can get really in depth. And I think the beauty of this investigating it is that you're accepting that you're feeling this feeling, and you're not trying to push it away. And it's almost as if it's being heard, it's being witnessed. And we talk about being witnessed in our grief.
Mhm.
And then the N is for nurture. What does that anger need now? What does that sadness need now? Does it need just a hand on your heart? Does it need some gentle words like, it'll be okay? And you ask, what do you need? And Lisa, I have found this to be one of the most beautiful and useful techniques with clients. And when we go through it, we tend to take quite a few minutes doing it when we're sort of rushing through so I can explain it to our viewers. But you can spend a long time really investigating. And what's so interesting to me is that afterwards, when we're finished, when you've nurtured with self-compassion, when you've looked at this emotion, it has often diffused. It's often not as strong. I don't know, have you used this yourself or with clients?
I sure have. And just as a practical matter, the way that this comes up for me, and I've had actually the pleasure of meeting Tara Brach and sitting through
Mm,
some of her meditations. She has some beautiful books.
yes,
Radical Self-Compassion, Radical Acceptance is
acceptance.
another
Yeah.
one for interested viewers. But the way that this comes up for me is I think we've all had this experience where you're going along in your day and then suddenly, someone either says something or you hear something and you feel that sense of, this word triggered, which is kind of a buzzword right now, but you notice something is different in your aura and the way that your energy is coming up for you. So for me, it's like I'm going along and then all of a sudden something happens and I get this feeling in the pit of my stomach. And that's for me where the R really comes in to recognize.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, I recognize that this is happening. And our tendency is to brace against that. So instead of changing the radio station or, grabbing something to snack on, which is a common
Yeah, yeah.
go-to strategy that I use, it's like, oh, I don't feel good. What can I eat? Let me grab a pretzel.
I'm familiar with
So,
that.
so we don't want to, we want to allow, that's the A. And then the investigate is really, as you said, where the magic is.
Mm,
We recognize we're triggered. We've got this funny feeling in our stomach. We let it be there, which is a really courageous thing. And then the investigating is really saying, wait a minute, what's happening here? And like you said, this can take, we can allow ourselves to spend some time on this and really trying to, as you were saying, name and kind of describe, okay, I've got the feeling for me usually comes in my stomach, but
hmm.
others too, you feel your heart is all of a sudden racing. You may feel a little dizzy or off center. And you do really try to investigate what the actual experience is
Yeah.
and then start thinking about, well, where did this come from? And that investigation happens. You start to ask questions. And when you really lay it out without judgment, without resistance, and say, okay, I was doing great. Now I'm not. What happened? And then usually for me, when I take the time to do that, it's not the actual trigger or the event that precipitated the change in my energy or my experience isn't necessarily commensurate with what I'm feeling. So, maybe a weird song came on and it doesn't actually make sense. But once I sit with it, I can usually trace it back to something else.
Yeah.
Giving ourselves time to do that is where we're then able to nurture it. Because if we don't investigate, then we don't actually know what's going on. So when I'll say like, okay, I don't know, I've got this feeling in the pit of my stomach. Well, somebody said something. And then I say, okay, well, it wasn't what the person said, but what happened within me when that statement was made, because it wasn't meant to be painful, but for some reason it's aggravating something within me. And then the nurturing is, what do I need right now?
Yes.
Do I need rest? Do I need connection? Do I need support? Do I need, a break? Whatever that might be. And all of these steps, outside of really the first one, the recognize has to, I think, happen in real time.
Yeah.
It can be a little retro, but for the most part, I think we do have to recognize something when it's happening. But the other steps, the allowing and the investigating and the nurturing, they can come later if it's not something that we can do. Hi, Poppy.
Poppy's coming in. Yes. Yeah.
If it's not something that we can do in real time, that is okay. We can always come back to it. But being curious about it is where the power is. And for me, Carol, I started doing this because of grief, but now I do it for anything because really...
That's what I love about it as well. I also started doing it for grief, and it is useful for any unusual feeling that you feel. And I think we are so good at pushing things away that we don't want to feel it. It's uncomfortable. And when we talk about sitting with our grief, being with our grief, this is a very gentle way for us to learn to do that, because it can be uncomfortable. I mean, when we say, be with that anger, be with that sadness, be with that guilt, it's like, oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And
more pretzels, please.
Yeah. Yes. And yet when we do, something magical can happen. And I think the allowing and the curiosity is a profound way for us to help deal with any difficult emotion, not just grief. Because we're all used to feeling, oh, that didn't feel right. Somebody says something or something happens, and we just tend to skim over it, don't we? So what I would suggest for people is to really lean into this, try this on maybe an emotion that's not too difficult, and see how you do. And perhaps what we'll do is we'll put what each of the letters stand for in the comments so that people know what it is.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think that doing this practice, it's not like I could speak from my own experience. I didn't start doing this because I thought it would just be fun to sit with my pain and everything like that. The reason that I do it and I come back to it again and again is because it empowers me.
Yeah.
And when we're grieving, especially, we've had so much that we couldn't control. Our loved one was taken. We couldn't control the circumstances. There's so much out of control feeling around grief. And so the reason that I come back to this practice is because it makes me stronger. It helps me keep my composure because, let's face it, there's a continuum on how we get triggered. Maybe it's just a feeling in my stomach, or maybe I want to flip somebody off while I'm driving because they cut me off. The truth is, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to give my power away to somebody else. So by taking time out here or there, whether it's in real time or coming back to something, it makes me stronger so that I am not so vulnerable to these triggers and walking around worried that I'm going to, blow up at somebody, say something I'm going to regret, do something I'm going to regret. By having, I love your word, curiosity. It's a magical thing that so many of us don't practice. By just getting curious about what's going on, then we learn ourselves. We learn about what's really underneath. So we don't get the sneak attacks so much. Yeah. We don't get triggered. So that to me is just a really good motivation to want to try this. And even in the for the entire RAIN, for all the steps, but especially in the investigation piece,
Yes.
having a piece of paper and a pen around and just writing down a word, hurts, nausea, rapid heart rate, trying to just name things. It really is cathartic. And until we do it, we want to, say, oh, that's silly and stuff. And it is silly. It's awkward. Trying new things is weird and we feel weird, but we already have to try to be a griever. We didn't choose that. By choosing something that can really empower us, we are caring for ourselves. And so much of our healing is dependent on us being able to
It
advocate.
is. And I think taking back control is a big point. I think it allows to respond rather than react. We become less reactive. So that
Love it.
responding and choosing how we respond is so important for ourselves and those around us, right?
It's an amazing distinction.
beautiful
Yeah, that sounds
practice.
like a great idea for another video.
Yes. Yeah.
So thanks for joining us today. If you found something to resonate with you today, please go ahead and like our video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.